Okay, so now we are going to sew the drawstring backpack. So I have my 2 panel pieces cut out. I also have the tab piece, which is the skinnier one, and then the 2 channel pieces cut out. I also, this is not on the panel, but you will need 2 12.5 by 14.5 rectangles for the lining, and then 4 yards of cording. I just found this at Joann's. They also sell it on Amazon. And look how perfect it matched. It happened to be like one of the only ones they had besides white, so worked out perfectly. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the tab piece and we're going to fold it in half and we're going to iron it. And then we're going to open it up and then we're going to fold each edge to that center line, that center fold that we just created. And then you're going to fold all of that together to the inside, like that. So the folded edges are in, and we are going to sew a 1/8 top stitch all the way down on this open edge. Okay, now that you sewed a top stitch on the open side, we are going to cut this piece in half at 6 inches. So cut one to be 6 inches. And then cut the remaining part in half again. So one leave to be 6 inches, and then the other piece cut into 3.5 into 3-inch strips. So now you have one 6-inch piece and 2 little 3-inch tabs. So I'm going to take these 2 channel pieces that I actually realized I didn't put in the directions, but since these edges are going to be exposed in our final bag, we don't want the raw edge. We want to add a nice little fold there. So fold over like 1/4 inch and press, and fold over 1/4 inch. Press on the other side. And then I'm just going to stitch these down on both sides on both pieces, just so that it looks a little nicer. Okay, now that I folded over and top stitched on both sides just to hold it down, I'm going to fold this in half and press. And I'm going to do that for this other strip as well. Okay, now I'm going to decide which piece I want to be on the front. I think I want this one on the front. And I'm going to take one of my channel pieces and I'm going to pin it to the top here. Kind of eyeball where the center would be. You could fold this one in half and this one in half and then put them in exact center, but you know me, I do not follow exact directions. Okay, and then we're going to pin this at the top. Small break, I had to grab my pins. So I'm gonna pin this to the top. And then on my back piece, first, I'm actually gonna add the little loop right here, the 6-inch one. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in what I think is the center. I'm going to pin those two things down. Okay, that's going to be the backpack loop. And then I'm going to take my other channel piece and I'm going to pin it on top there again in the center. The raw edge is up here and the folded edge is down at the bottom. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to base stitch, or just sew a quick stitch along the top to hold this in place, and then do it on the same on the front. I'm going to do that to hold this part in place. Okay, you can take the pins out now, and you can see that it's going to end up like this, where our cording for the backpack is going to go through this at the top. Here's going to be a little handle at the back of the backpack to help us loop it and become a drawstring backpack. Okay, now that we did that, we are going to take these 3-inch tab pieces. You can pin them on the front or the back, doesn't really matter. I'm going to fold it in half like this, and then I'm going to pin it where I want it. This is again where the cording is going to loop from these up through here and back and through the other side. So this is for the straps. So I'd like to put mine probably that far up. Oh, I guess I'm on a mat. I can measure for you all. Looks like about like right under the 3-inch line, 3 inches up. I'm going to pin this down, and I'm going to do the same thing on both sides. And then just like with the top, we're going to sew this down just so it stays in place. And then I'm going to put the other strap right here on this other side. And look, if I measure, they're going to be even. Take that, you guys. I am not that careful of a seamstress, so I am trying hard for you guys to actually do this the right way that the pattern actually says. So there we go. And then we're going to sew it down there and sew it down there, just so that it stays in place. Okay, I have my front piece here, and I'm going to take the two 3-inch little pieces, and these are going to become the tabs for the drawstring at the bottom. So they're going to go through this, and then they're going to go through that channel piece we just sewed on at the top. So you're going to measure 2 inches up. So this is 2 inches up, and pin it down, and then do the same thing on this side. Let's see, 2 inches up is right there. Pin on this side, and then I'm going to baste it, or just sew a quick little seam there and there to hold it in place. 1/4 inch. Okay, now that your tab pieces are basted on, you're going to take your front, make sure the channel pieces are facing on the inside, and lay the back piece on top of the front piece, right sides together, and then you are going to pin all the way along the side and all the way up the bottom. And then we're going to sew with a 1/2 inch, not 1/4 like quilting, 1/2 inch from here down to here, up to here. Do not sew this top part. We want it to stay open. Okay, now that we sewed it all together, you can turn it right side out. Oh my gosh, you guys, look, it worked. I'm so excited. I didn't know how well when I designed it that, oh, that one's off a little bit. So see how that one's off? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sew a little closer right there. Yeah, that one's off. Okay, I'm gonna go fix that real quick, but then if you are done, turn it right side out. You should have your little tab pieces, you have your top channel pieces, and then we're going to sew the lining. So take the lining, it should be longer, like 14.5 long, and then 12.5 at the top. Put both sides together, pin along the sides and along the bottom, and sew 1/2 inch, but leave a 3-inch gap at the bottom because that's where you're going to be able to turn out the bag. So pin all the way and sew all the way up here, and then pin and sew all the way up here. Don't sew the top and don't sew this 3-inch gap at the bottom. Yep, and I am unpicking again. I think, see how that seam, those two aren't matching? I think that's why this side is not as matched. So I'm going to try and fix it a little bit just to see if I can get it more closely matched. And again, showing you realness. I unpick all the time. Okay, look at it. Look, it was worth to repick. Look how good that is. Right there, right there, right there. So unpicked it. It was a good idea. And I forgot about my handy glue basting. So then I could glue so it could match perfectly. I don't know why I didn't do that the first time. So now you have it right side out. And you are sewing your lining piece. Now I have my lining piece with my opening at the bottom. I'm going to cut off these corners just so I reduce some bulk. And then I'm going to take this lining piece. It's still going to be inside out. I'm going to take the outside piece with the drawings on it, and it's going to be right side out, and I'm going to put it inside the lining. So I'll match the corners here and then in here. And then make sure the channel pieces are folded down so the raw edges are exposed, and you're going to match these raw edges at the top. So match the seams. I sometimes like to nest that seam in there. See how that works? So these two seams are gonna nest in together, and then you're gonna pin all the way around the top with the raw edges touching all the way, match the seam over here, and then you're gonna sew 1/2 inch all the way around. Okay, so as you can tell, I am unpicking my lining piece because when I put them together and I was trying to match them up, this piece was bigger than the circumference of the top of this piece. So I sewed a 1/2 inch around seam with this one, and I think I'm gonna go back through and do a 1/4 inch seam and see if it fits a little better. Okay, yeah, I need to revise my pattern. Do a 1/4 inch seam all the way down the bottom, because then look, it fits perfectly inside. The circumferences are the same. So now I'm going to top stitch 1/2 inch all the way around, making sure to back stitch, and then I'll show you what we do. Okay, now you're going to use this hole in the bottom to pull the stuff through. Now you have like this weird little case thing going on. You can punch out these corners. And then what you're going to want to do before you stuff this in is you're going to want to top stitch this part closed. It doesn't matter that you can see it because it's the inside of the bag. Okay, now that I top stitched it closed, I'm going to take it and I'm going to shove the lining inside my backpack. So now just the front is showing, and I'm going to pull up on these. Ah, look how cute. It's looking cute. Here we go. Here's our backpack. I'm going to Turn that a little bit, and we have our, I'm gonna pull out this corner a little bit. Okay, there we go. And now our channels. So now, here, I'm gonna push this in a little bit more. Now for the tricky part. We get to actually add the cording. I'm gonna have to raise it up, so the camera up, so you guys can see it a little better. So let me do that. Okay, so the cording seems tricky, but it's pretty easy. Sorry if this camera shakes, I had to raise it really high just to show you. So I'm gonna start by going through the left on the top of the bag, and oh, and I cut my cording in half. Exactly, so I'm pushing it through this top channel all the way to this end, and then I'm gonna loop it into the back channel. Right here. If I can get it out. Okay, that's my other piece. So then I have these two pieces, and they're gonna go through the tab here and be tied off, but we're not gonna do that yet. We're gonna make sure this works. So then I'm gonna take my other piece, and I'm gonna go the opposite direction. I'm gonna start on the right side and go through, a little trickier because you already have a string in there. And then I'm gonna pull it through this channel in the back. It's already wanting to draw a string together. It's twisting in there. Let's try and get that on top again. Okay, I pulled it in through that back side, and now I'm gonna match up the ends of this and pull it through this tab. Then I'm going to tie a knot so that it won't go through the tab, and then on the other side, tie a knot. You may want to wait on tying a knot to make sure that you did it right first. So now we should be able to pull it, and ta-da! We have our drawstring backpack. Whoop. Whoop, and there you have it.